what I really want them to do is tell me new sessions or sessions from organic. You just come in here and edit the screen that has the metric on it. Filters are also really simple to use, and I just want to emphasize right here, when I talk about filters at this level, these are show or don't show, with it don't lose the data. If you use filters at the account level, you have to be cautious of that. You can do powerful or the regular expressions. And if you've never used regular expressions before, I wrote an article on Search Engine Land called Regular Expressions for Marketers. So please go and check that out. It gives you some tips on how to do these things within Google Analytics. I'm out of time. Okay. Oh yeah, I got a bit.ly there. It's bit.ly regex-for-marketers. So please go and check that out. It's really powerful stuff when you can use regex and include or disinclude things that are really complex and complicated. Now I want to talk a little bit about custom reports, and I'm just going to kind of graze the top of this, and then Annie is going to go into a ton more detail on some of these areas. So first off, it's this customization tab at the very top of your screen, and if you want to open up a new custom report, then you can edit, copy, share, delete, whatever. Kind of a standard that I like to set up with each new client is to at least create a basic custom report on a structure level. So category pages, product pages, blog pages, that sort of thing, and then kind of the main site pages, which would include the About Us and the Contact Us and the privacy policy and all that good stuff. When you get into the custom report screen, it can be really kind of overwhelming because it assumes that you know what all these things mean. So I like to think of it as metrics are the things you want to measure, dimensions are the buckets or containers that you want to put them in, and then the filters are the things to include or not include. And I think when you think about it like that, it's much easier to create a report than trying to think in terms of dimensions and metrics. So here's an example. The filter on this, in this case, is all sessions. The dimensions, the containers you want to use, in this case we've used the medium, and then metrics, the things you want to measure in this case are the sessions. And so Google has this nice little situation where they show sessions and dimensions and metrics in different colors. So at least you always know when you see a green, that's a dimension, and when you see a blue, that's a metric. That makes it a lot easier, I think, when you're trying to do this, especially when you're trying to edit. So one of the segments that you should really always set up are mobile versus desktop. And you can do that one of two ways. You can either do, there's a prefab segment in Google Analytics that is very easy to use. You just open it up, create new segment, and then select mobile and tablet traffic. Another way you can do it if you want a little more control is to go into segments, do a new segment, do it based on technology, and then mobile including tablet, you would check that yes box. And that's just kind of an easy way to have a little more control, because then let's say you want mobile traffic, but you only want mobile traffic where the device type is Apple. So this would be an easy way to just take that segment and turn it into an Apple product segment instead. And then it captures your iPhones, your iPads, your Apple Watches, anything that is an Apple branded product. So some of the things data can do when you really get into it and you're figuring out what's going on, it can teach us about behavior, it can solidify or contradict a hypothesis, it can predict a problem if you have these dashboards that you've developed and you're having them emailed to you on a regular basis, which you can do, by the way. Ensure mistakes are caught, and just make sure that you're maintaining, that everything's kind of where it's supposed to be. Dashboards are really good for just kind of having a quick look. And again, if you set it to have it emailed to you, then you'll get that all the time. But remember that data is just data, and analysis is what leads to insight. So don't ever present data without some sort of analysis to go with it, because it's too easy to misinterpret what it means or not get the full picture if there's not that insight along with it. And there's that useful link again, and please download this deck, and it'll be available on SlideShare as well. Thank you so much.
Jenny, that was excellent. I actually used Jenny as an example in my training day of editorials, because she had written an amazing editorial on PubCon before she was ever a speaker, and now we're pretty lucky to have her as a speaker. Let's welcome up Annie Cushing, which is going to keep talking about Google Analytics customizations.
Thank you, Jenny. That was awesome. I didn't know about the little date trick, taking a date out of the URL. I'll definitely be rocking that. So I am going to kind of take you into the deeper end of the pool in terms of, not that wasn't deep end of the pool type stuff. I'm like, you might need some water wings. I'm going to be talking about some customizations, also some settings in Google Analytics that are a little jacked up. That's not your fault. It's the Google Analytics team's fault. Love the team, great friends on the team, but I hold no punches with some of these settings. So we're going to kind of take a deep dive into some of those things. The first two things I'm going to be jumping into are probably going to be the most essential. So if you're going to check out and check Facebook, Pinterest, email, whatever, you might wait until after the first two. All right, so the nice thing about Google Analytics is that you're able to get under the hood and customize a lot. That's one of the things I love about it. It's one of the reasons I think it's a far superior product in most instances to Omniture's Site Catalyst. But that's also a built-in liability because you can go in, you can customize anything. Google doesn't give you alerts like, are you sure you want to touch a setting, because it will jack up your reports in perpetuity. You don't get any kind of alerts like that. So I'm going to kind of talk about some of those customizations that you can do, and also point you to some resources so that if you opt to take advantage of some of these customizations, they won't negatively impact your data downstream. That's a really big emphasis of mine. Always be thinking, how is this going to impact my data downstream? The first thing, if you have followed my blog at all, annielytics.com, started as a joke on Twitter, became a brand. But I'm really, really big on campaign tagging. I have a guide, I'll link to it, and at the end, this will go kind of fast. At the end, I'm going to share a link to a page on my site that's going to have a link to the presentation, plus also a bunch of crazy discounts. So absolutely tag your campaigns. So this is just a few of the reports that are impacted inside Google Analytics by campaign tagging. That means also that if you get campaign tagging wrong, these are all the reports that can get seriously borked. One of the things that you really want to watch out for, this is a check you want to go and do to your Google Analytics, either, well, not right now, maybe after lunch, not before lunch, it'll make you grumpy. But if you go to acquisition all traffic channels, the channels report is down without hesitation my favorite report in Google Analytics. You'll notice the social channel there. That right there is all you need for social reporting. Don't even touch Google Analytics social reports. I did a video on it where I took a deep dive into the social reports. I think with some of them, drugs were involved. I mean, they're really, really, really messed up. This is the most powerful way to get insights into your social traffic. So just search Annie Cushing social reports. And because if you drill down to social, you get to the glorious social network dimension instead of source medium. Do not use source medium to look at your social traffic ever, ever, ever. Okay, so one of the things that you want to look for is that hideous other bucket. I mean, it's my goal to trigger PTSD. If you see other in your channels report, you should start twitching because, and this is especially tragic. This is a screenshot from a client where I was doing an analytics audit, and I had another one, and I didn't grab a screenshot of it, unfortunately, but their other channel was their #2 top channel. That is egregious. But the other channel just means, like, if Google has no idea what your traffic is because you jammed up your campaign tags, they stick it in this other channel, which is just, it's like a junk drawer. Google's like, I have no idea what this is. Here, you worry about it. The problem is no one worries about the other channel because they don't know what it is. What you want to do is you want to click on that other channel and then change the primary dimension, which shows up just above the table, to medium. And I'll give you an example of what that looks like. When you do that, you'll see here all of these mediums. Google's like, I have no idea what these are. So when I do an analytics on it, I literally go step by step, line by line, and I say, what I recommend for this, like retargeting, should be a medium. By the way, paid social, Google doesn't have a default channel for paid social. Again, jacked up. In fact, one of their help resources recommends tagging the medium as CPC. Do not do that. Have you ever seen that commercial? Set it and forget it. And then you buy the product and it's like, do not actually set it and forget it. It's kind of like that. CPC gets channeled into paid search. If you're sponsoring ads on Facebook or content or whatever, that is not search. Facebook is not a search engine. You do not want paid social ever to go into your paid search channel. So I have a blog post on how to set up a custom paid social channel. You definitely want to do that. But you'll notice in here, I don't think that this, is this working? No, it's not. That's right. You'll notice email and display. You might look at those and say, why are those showing up in the junk drawer? Because Google has an email channel and it has a display channel. Well, the reason for that is that someone on the Google Analytics team, I want to punch that person in the jugular. Do not tweet that. I don't really want to punch a person in the jugular. But they made the medium case sensitive. So where Jenny was showing us, you had these different options, exact match, never choose exact match, never, ever, ever. It's pedantic. One of the options is regex match. Woo-hoo, can I get an amen? But one of the options is regex match. Sometimes it says regex match. I don't think that person was hooked enough as a child. The cool kids call it regex. But if you just set it to regex match, even if you don't include any regex, it'll make it so it's not case sensitive. And that's what the Google Analytics team should have done. But because they made it exact match, you actually have to lowercase your mediums. And medium is by far the most important parameter to get right. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, if I'm talking like some kind of weird twin language, definitely check out my campaign tagging report. In fact, in most instances, if you search for campaign tagging, I outrank Google. Oh, anyway, so if you have any kind of uppercase, Google's like, ew, what is that? I literally have no idea what you're talking about. And then it shows up in your other channel. So I was doing one analytics audit, and I actually used to tell clients, hey, you know what, set up this lowercase filter, I'll get into that in a minute, and, you know, just to kind of dummy proof it. then I came across this analytics audit, and I saw, this is the other channel, and I saw email and banner. Now, you'll see, because Google has this resource, and I share a link to it, where it defines all of the different channels, and it's a very, very important resource to keep. I bookmark it, put it in Evernote, that's the main hemisphere of my brain. But you'll see here, it has a definition for email and display, and you can see here that it matches banner or display and email. And so I sat there, I was like, am I being punked here? Like, what's going on? And then it occurred to me, wait a minute, and I checked their filters, and they had a lowercase filter applied to their medium, which meant that Google uses the pre-filtered data. So not even setting up a lowercase filter will save you. There is no saving you from the wrath of the exact match. So it's really, really important that you set these to lowercase. I will share with you a hack to kind of dummy-proof your data from this point moving forward, but it won't help with your historical data. So